Alright, before this video starts, I so wish I could record the first part. So the first part, how I met this guy, Mob Fighter, was basically I was in a Discord and I was talking to my friend, and I guess he popped into our Discord. We were talking about movies and stuff, and all of a sudden we got on the topic of The Last of Us. This guy is a very enthusiastic person about The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I'm like, I never met anyone that was this enthusiastic, has a lot of theories, has a lot of facts to back it up and stuff. It was a heated debate we were going on Discord. I so wish I could have recorded it, but I was like, you know what? We're going to go on the podcast. While I was on the podcast, I had some things in mind. I guess you could say on my podcast playlist, it's all about mostly The Last of Us and stuff, theories and questionable facts and stuff. I wanted to dig deep into his mind and to see that if he'll be able to answer any of those questions. I forgot to ask him about like, how do you think the Seraphites were created and stuff. I forgot to ask him that in the WLF. We did talk a lot about the WLF. We talked about should there be an alternate ending? You'll be surprised what he said when I said, should there be an alternate ending, meaning should Ellie have killed Abby or not? But it was an interesting podcast right there. If you guys want to see a part 2 podcast with us debating, just let me know, and yeah, I'll whip it out for you guys. Sorry this took a little long to make, but back in school and stuff, been doing a lot of work and stuff, been a little difficult. I got another channel to rely on too. I abandoned my main channel though for complication reasons why. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Alright. So, everyone, how you guys doing? It's Dad Time here. We're back with another podcast. Never thought that I'd actually have another guest on, but this is a special one. Alright, we're going to clarify a few things. Apologies for the background, ticked down my green screen. Other than that, we're about to talk about The Last of Us Part 2. And I was just streaming it before, and I had a few comments about it. Here's one I want to ask you about real quick before we get started.
All right.
With Abby's side of the story. Now, someone in my chat said that Abby was in the right for killing Joel. Do you believe Abby was in the right for killing Joel?
Well, it's I mean, it's hard to say because I mean, there's always that bias, but if you look at it from her perspective, basically, all she sees is her father lying in the pool of blood. She doesn't know the context behind it, or she may not even think about the context behind it. She doesn't know how brutal it was. We players saw how Joel took out the doctor when we played the first game, The Last of Us Part 1. Abby didn't, and she walked in on it in a similar way, actually, to how Ellie walks in on Abby beating Joel in Part 2. And actually, I actually think that mirrors that kind of mirrors how Joel reacts to Sarah's death in the first game too. Like, it seems to mirror that as well, just based on framing.
Yeah, okay. First off, I want to apologize. Alright, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Alright. Hello everybody, I'm Mob Fighter.
This man is a true Last of Us enthusiast. So we were on Discord not too long ago. I believe it was probably a few days ago. We had an interesting conversation about it. Now, I never met another person like him when I was discussing about The Last of Us theories and also facts and statistics. That's why I brought him on here. That's why we're about to talk about a little bit more theories and dive deep into the minds of The Last of Us fans.
Just one more thing. I would like to continue my argument because I wasn't done articulating it.
Go for it. Well, summarize it again.
Well, continuing from what I said before, Abby, just like Ellie, sees a father figure on the ground and suffering, or having already had suffered, and basically Ellie and Abby, they feel the same thing as each other, and they have this logical but irrational feeling that they must avenge their father figure at any cost. And at the beginning of the game, when you're playing as Ellie, when you're an agent of Ellie, you feel all these things that Ellie is feeling, and all these things that Ellie is feeling is the exact same thing that Abby is feeling. It's just a different perspective. It's just, both sides are closed off from wanting to truly understand each other. They're both tribalistic towards the other side. They don't want to understand each other. Abby herself doesn't even seem to want to entertain the possibility that maybe her father's death was justified from Joel's perspective. She completely discounts it, disregards it, the same way Ellie disregards the idea that maybe Joel's death was justified from Abby's perspective. So I find that interesting.
I find something else interesting. So let's go back and towards where Ellie was 14 years old. Ellie was actually born in a federate school. All she knows is how to fight, survive, and kill. She has that knowledge. True, Joel was a father figure, and Joel was also a smuggler, and he also knew how to kill. He was from the South and stuff. Even Tess called him, what was it? Western. She called him these little nicknames, and it gathered up to the fact that where a lot of people fear Joel back in Boston. And the thing is that when Sarah first saw her own father actually kill someone, she started crying. When Ellie first saw Joel kill a federal soldier, she didn't cry at all. So you can see how similar the two of them really are. But Abby's father was actually only a doctor. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a killer at all. He was in the Fireflies, but he was a head neurologist inside the Fireflies. Marlene was only the leader, so it's debatable whether or not who was more of a adult figure to Abby that was like in the war, like in fighting. Was it Marlene, or do you think it was Isaac? Because Mel did say that Abby is Isaac's top scar killer. So which one do you think it was? Do you think Marlene turned her into a killer, or do you think it was Isaac who turned her more into a killer?
I think it was Isaac, plus her perspective and resentment that is building up over the years, and her feeding that into gaining her muscles in order to become a beast like Joel was. And she basically wants to turn into the monster that she thinks Joel is in order to be able to beat him. Now, the reason why I speculate that Isaac was more of a father figure than Abby is just the way he touches her shoulder when we're first introduced to Isaac. It seemed very mentor-like to me.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And the way he was talking to her patiently yet confidently made me feel like that maybe Isaac was a mentor figure to her, and he felt the same way about her. Now, I'm not sure if he's just doing this to manipulate her into thinking that he's a mentor figure or not, but that's how it came across to me. So
I'm not sure if you saw my other few podcasts, but I put out some theories. Here's one theory of mine. Okay, so this is a pop question for you. In the first game of The Last of Us, basically, Joel, he shot Marlene in the chest. Marlene was down on the ground. He put Ellie inside the car when she was passed out.
Yes.
Now, do you think that if Joel never had killed Marlene, she would never have gone after Joel, and she would have left Joel alone? And basically, the Fireflies wouldn't have never gone to the wolves? Or do you think that Marlene will be hunting after Joel and wanting revenge?
I'm sorry, is this about what Abby would do or what Marlene would do?
What Marlene would do. Do you believe that if Marlene was still alive, the Fireflies would still be around? Or do you think that they would dismantle and forget about the cure and just, I guess, go to the wolves?
As much as I would like to say otherwise, yes, I think Joel was justified in killing Marlene, although not for the reasons that he expresses. Basically, I think he's justified in killing Marlene because, yes, she would have came after him with a group of Fireflies and tried to take back Ellie. That's pretty clear to me.
Yeah, my idea is this. So, I'm gonna give you a brief recap of what happened. Isaac was never part of the Fireflies at all. Basically, after Marlene died, the Fireflies dispatched half of them.
Yes.
Left, half of them went over to North, and that's when they joined the Wolves. Now, the Wolves were actually a propaganda. They were protesting against Fedra, but the Wolves got so, I guess, big and popular that some of the citizens started to listen to them. Isaac was one of the members, but then when Fedra executed the main members, Isaac had to take a stand, and Isaac had to actually kill the Fedra soldiers, and that's how the war began. He wiped out Fedra soldiers.
Yes.
Now, this is my question where it lies in. If Isaac never have basically tried to start a war with the Scars, where do you think their situation would be in right now? Do you think that their situation would be rely on like defending them against the infected? Or do you think that it still needs to be a war between Scars and Isaac? Because there's a peace treaty at one time.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's just that I think that their ideology is fundamentally opposed to any sort of lasting peace. Like they're very in-group, out-group, very tribalistic sort of.
Isaac is a sadistic, psychotic.
Yes,
so that's what.
But I'm talking about the WLF in general, basically.
Yeah.
Like I think at one point or another, they would have made a move, and clearly they did. It's mentioned in the game that both sides broke the peace treaty.
They did
times. So
basically, this is how they broke the peace treaty. It was Scars that were kids, and they went over to some wolf posts, and they
yes, and then the wolves killed the kids. Yeah. So I thought what heightened the conflict between the Scars and the Seraphites and the WLF is the fact that they killed their leader, the Seraphite prophet, because that made her a martyr.
The Seraphite prophet?
Yes.
Well, I guess you could say that she did live in Haven.
Isaac had her killed, and she became a martyr.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that story of how that went. I was still trying to do some research on it, but I couldn't really find out any more information on it. But I do know that she lived in Haven Rock only at that time. So she had to travel with some Scars to, I guess, Washington, probably to the FOB, maybe. And I think that's when they're probably trying to make a peace treaty, actually. That's when Isaac probably killed her. Maybe that's when it happened. Yeah. That's a theory.
I mean, what I was saying is that I mean, I think it's true because Abby brings it up herself. She reads the note about a guard who is intrigued by the prophet, and then afterwards she says, "Look what you did, Isaac. You turned a crazy person into a martyr."
Damn. Must have missed that one. And here I am is searching for every single letter and document inside The Last of Us Part 2. But it's interesting how
There's a lot,
the
yeah.
rabbit hole goes. It goes far. Also, not to mention this, Marlene, at one point, she thought that she wanted to expand the Fireflies to make it a revolutionary war, basically, between her and Fedra, because she wanted Fireflies to be in different outposts where Fedra was at, because she did not want Fedra on the board at all. Do you think that she would have been more powerful than Isaac, or Isaac's army was too great of a force than her?
Abby or
No, Marlene and Isaac. Like,
oh, I don't know how that would play out.
I
don't really have enough information to speculate. Right.
Well, the information I could gather from it is that even in The Last of Us Season 1, the HBO Max series, she even pointed out that basically she wants a lot of Fireflies points to be everywhere on Fedra maps, so she could take out Fedra, all of them. But what Isaac did, Isaac only took out a Fedra post that was only in Washington. He only took out one huge Fedra post. Marlene wanted to take them out over the country, basically the U.S. So who's more deadlier, do you think, Isaac or Marlene? In revolutionary ideal-wise.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Marlene herself. Marlene is actually, if you read her journal from The Last of Us Part 1, near the end as Joel, and if you listen to the audio recordings as Joel, she seems much tamer than her crew that she took with her from Boston. She said herself that her crew from Boston were so paranoid about Joel that they were urging her to allow them to kill Joel.
That's probably well, half the Fireflies, I guess you could say, they also did fear Joel, because every time they would approach Joel, Joel would literally say this his own words. If you tell me to, like, do you want to find a light? You could fuck off. Basically, that was Joel's words. Basically,
right? Like, but he basically thought that the reason why I didn't trust the Fireflies is because they promised all this stuff and they just never followed up on it. So he thought they were scamming everybody, basically fooling everybody.
Okay, how about this? What if Joel was the one who went to Seattle instead of Tommy? What if Tommy was the one who actually died and Joel was still alive? Do you think that Joel would play it safe and like actually take out Abby, or do you think that the outcome would have been probably Abby still surviving? Which one do you think will happen? Because Tommy did F up big time. Basically, he let his guard down, which he never should have.
Let's see here. Just take this with a grain of salt because I don't remember where I heard it from. But
This is a theory right here. Like, just a question. What do you think will happen?
Oh, what do you think I would happen?
Yeah.
Well, I think if Joel was to go after Abby, it would be in a more calculated way than I guess Tommy went about it. You know?
Thank you. Finally, someone says it. Everyone in my stream kept on saying no. Joel would be a brute and Joel would go through everyone and kill everyone, basically. No, he'll be more educated, more calculated with it. Even though Tommy is a professional marksman and created a kill box perfectly, but still, in the end, he came back with a hole in his eye and a gimp. Became a gimp, basically.
Let's be honest, people usually do play Joel as a brute, but if you look at the cutscenes in part one, you see that he plays things in a bit more calculated of a way. Like
He does.
when he was interrogating David's men, like he wasn't all brute. He swiftly knocked them out and then tied them to a chair and then
Yeah, Tommy did that only at one point, but Tommy then just stopped, like, I guess you could say, being careful, like, watch his tracks, because when you go up to a TV station, you get to see a lot of dead bodies before you go there. They're, like, on the floor near the cars and stuff. Tommy was careless to, like, just naturally shoot everyone right there. But I don't think that he shot everyone inside the TV station. I think those were the Scars who did it, though, that hung up those people.
Oh, yeah, those were definitely the Scars. That was meant to be one of the introductions to the Scars before that section with the tripwires.
Exactly. Because Scars, some of them, yeah, they do have guns as well.
Yeah, it's Webb mentioned that that was one of those interesting contradictions that they have in their culture, that they can have exceptions despite the real world material and old world material that they sprouted. Yeah.
Other than that, do you have any more of them? More theories and you'd like to add?
Oh, another thing I would like to add is that, and I'm not justifying this, I'm just basically trying to showcase Abby's perspective here, and it makes her a little bit human if you look at it this way. So basically, I believe that Abby wasn't going to torture Joel with a golf club until they got into that cabin. I think that it was a very impulsive move after Joel basically said, I don't care what you're doing this for. I don't care about anything, basically. Do your worst. So basically he was, number one, insulting her pride, which in her mind she's worked like 3.5 years to get to this point. And number two, basically not caring about her father's death or anything like that. So basically to her it felt like that he was insulting her father's memory. So then after that she was like, that's it, tourniquet his leg, and also grab me a golf club, and then she was handed the golf club, and then she says something like, oh no, you're not gonna rush this.
Yeah, right. Here's my thinking right here. Basically, let me actually pull this up.
So it's not justified, but from her perspective, it makes sense.
Ideological. Fucking hell. Oh yeah. Here's one more thing. I'm gonna ask you basically one last thing. Okay, so do you think that there should have been an alternate ending where Ellie actually kills Abby, or no?
I could see an alternate ending working if they showed that it left Ellie worse off in the end. Because if they have an alternate ending and everything goes the same way that that the end of the game does what Ellie, and this is up to interpretation. My interpretation is that Ellie walks off from the farm with a glimmer of hope in her head, basically, because in my mind she's forgiven Joel. She understands Joel and his perspective more than she's ever had since their feud, I guess, 2.5 years ago, when there was that separation. I feel like she understands Joel more than ever at this point, and I feel like she's forgiven Joel, and since she's able to clearly draw Joel's face without having the X's on his eyes, I feel like that's her honoring Joel's memory, and she's basically taken Joel's memory with her in her notebook. And I think the whole ending is supposed to be a bit uplifting after all the gloom.
Yeah, that's what I think. A lot of people keep on speculating that Last of Us Part 3 will be with, I guess, Abby's story continue on. Something that Ellie will be having a child of her own. I have no idea what's going on. What do you think? Like a short glimpse of it.
Oh, I mean, I don't think Abby's gonna have a child.
No, Ellie, I mean. I keep seeing it in thumbnails over and over and stuff.
It's just clickbait stuff. But like, I don't know. I remember watching Grounded 2, which is a documentary on The Last of Us Part 2, and at the end of that documentary, they basically said that Neil said that Part 3 is going to be different compared to the first two games, and that it's a different focus, but it has the same themes as the first two. So to me, that says that Ellie and Abby aren't going to play as big as a role in the third game, but who knows? It could change.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, instead of Ellie and Abby, I thought that we probably were going to see a glimpse of Tommy and Joel, like their story and what happened to them before Outbreak and pre-Outbreak, then after all the chaos happened. I think maybe we may get a story about the two of them. Maybe.
That would be nice.
Tommy. Yeah, you never know. Or they might end up putting on a DLC, because they keep on saying that they're going to be adding a lot more things to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So hopefully we'll be able to see in the future. But that's about it right now. Thanks for being on the podcast.
All right.
It's awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Likewise. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one.
All right. Bye.